Hey, what's up, everyone? Me and Mira are back for another character discussion video on Street Fighter 6. Today, we're going to talk about Jamie, so we need no introduction right now. There is a lot to talk about with this character.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be fairly interesting, especially because he's basically the only new character that we saw out of the four that were shown, because we already knew Luke from Street Fighter 5,
Right.
obviously, and the other two.
So the question is, what do we know about his story? If you look on the main website, Capcom wrote a short summary of it, and they said, this self-styled Chinatown peacekeeper aspires to the example set by Yan and Yang, which we know from Street Fighter 3, of course, the Twin Dragons. They also mentioned that he's an expert dancer. Jamie places justice and friendship above all else, defending his town with martial skill. So we can tell he's kind of like an honorable kind of fighter so far.
Yeah, he seems to be almost like a vigilante, because in the trailer we see him beat up a bunch of guys in the street dressed up as, I don't know,
With
goons, I guess.
boxes on their heads.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So I'm curious how he will interact with other law-abiding characters in this game.
Oh, like Chun-Li? Yeah, I didn't even think
Yeah,
about
like
that.
Chun-Li.
So based off the recent character leaks, there's a short summary of all the storylines of the brand new characters coming to this series. So for Jamie, it mentions, and by the way, this is not, we don't know if this is going to be true or if they changed it through development, but it mentions that Jamie was actually a cousin or distant cousin of Yan and Yang. So there's some kind of relationship between these characters.
Yeah, regardless of what the truth actually is, we're gonna be able to see later how some moves reference those two characters.
Yeah. And the twist too to Jamie's fighting style, besides being the first drunken boxer slash drunken master character to Street Fighter, is that he's also an expert dancer as well. So we see kind of like a mix on that on his fighting style, which is cool. There's a more of like a young spirited kind of character in his fighting style. Like
Hmm.
he's having fun while he's fighting, it seems. So Mira, I have to ask, how do you think Jamie looks? Like his costume and his appearance and all that? Because I don't know, maybe people might not like what I think about it. Let's hear yours first.
Well, it's interesting because I couldn't quite place him at first, but I do like the overall outfit. I especially like the detail in the clothes themselves. The yellow, I think, is a pretty striking color. It's very vibrant, and obviously the long hair, even in game, it animates pretty well. I would say it's an improvement over Street Fighter 5. But as we're gonna discuss later, when the air comes loose, it gives me Nick Alley vibes a little bit,
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But otherwise, I do like the outfit, especially the crop top thing that he wears. I
Yeah,
had never seen it before, but I think it probably is a traditional style.
right. I personally think he looks just a little too plain, even though the details are definitely there, like you said, in the clothing. He's even wearing some makeup too. And,
Yeah.
I guess there's a lot of drunken boxer kind of characters. I think what throws me off maybe is the fact that there is some relation to Yun and Yang. So when I think Yun
Mhm.
and Yang as these traditional martial arts fighting style, and they have like the skateboard and the rollerblades, and the baseball caps and all that, it's kind of like, oh, it kind of looks more fresh, free spirited. I like that look of the twins, and so maybe I'm trying to look for that in Jamie. Those kind of
Well,
references.
I was gonna say, in a way, it's just like Yan and Yang because, like you mentioned, Yan and Yang wear traditional outfits, but at the same time, they have something modern about them. Yan
Yeah,
has the cap and the shoes, and Yang also has well, I mean, and their skating and rollerblading
yeah, the
equipment.
sneakers.
And in the case of Jamie, he also has modern shoes. He doesn't have traditional
That's
shoes.
true. Yeah, that's a good
Obviously, he
point.
does breakdance, which,
Hmm.
I mean, it's part of this whole thing.
Right. Yeah, maybe I'm just not looking at the details as much. It's not as like blatant. All right, so let's talk about Jamie's move list, which is extremely extensive. Jamie is very
Yeah.
similar to Chun-Li, where they're probably the two most complicated characters that Capcom has shown off now. But there is
Mhm.
a key difference. One is that Chun-Li, she has an alternate stance, which changes her move list, whereas Jamie he gets drink stocks, which will give him additional moves to his move list, and he also has a ton of target combos, unlike Chun Li.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, every time he drinks, he's going to gain a level, and every level will give him a new special move and a new target combo to use. So that will extend your arsenal of stuff that you can do.
So I guess we should start off by explaining this whole drink mechanic for Jamie because that's the entire character. So to do his drink, you press down down punch. It's called the devil inside, by the way, and it's not alcohol, even though he gets drunk.
He
and
gets puffy cheeks.
Yeah, and Jamie, he does a drink, and he obviously leaves himself open while he does it. And he starts off at level 0, and he can go up to level 4 for 4 drinks, basically. It's kind of like G, where he's like getting stock and he leaves himself open. But for Jamie, once he gets his drink stocks, he doesn't lose them even if he, falls on the ground or something. Besides his level 2 super, which we'll get into.
It seems more like a mechanic where you're rewarded for exploiting basically situations where your opponent just lets you be,
Yep.
especially if you're full screen and you're trying to get in and you just can get a sip while the opponent is hesitating, for example.
Yeah.
And it's pretty punishing because it doesn't go away, like you said. It's a lot like I don't know, like Q's taunts from Street Fighter 3, for example.
Right.
It reminds me of that a little bit.
Now, at the start of every round, you start off at level 0. So your drinks don't carry over between rounds, unfortunately. But at the same time, like I
Mhm.
said, you don't lose them once you get them. On top of
Yeah,
that, once you get to level 4, Jamie actually like transforms Nikali style. So his hair
yeah,
is
exactly.
all wavy, he's glowing kind of reddish, and he's like smoking. Like you can tell he's charged up, Super Saiyan mode.
Yeah, I think all the smoke is supposed to be is sweat, is charged up.
Now, on top of this, you actually get rewarded because once you get up to level 4 with Jamie and you continue to drink, it actually regenerates your drive gauge instead of bringing you to the next level. So it also encourages you to still continue drinking even when you're max level, which is a nice touch. I really like that. So, with all this being said, not only does Jamie have a really extensive move list, which we're going to talk about, you also have to manage his whole drinks, when to drink, when to end with drinks, and what you're capable of doing depending on what level every single round with Jamie. So that's why we say he's going to be a complicated character like Chun-Li, but in a different way. So if you guys want a character that's really technical like that, where you got to make a lot of decision making, Jamie might be the character for you, especially if you like the twins,
Mhm.
Yang and Yang. All right, so let's talk about his special moves now. Let's talk about what Jamie's capable of doing right at level 0, which you get at the start of the round. And by the way, a lot of these moves have references to Yang and Yang, which we're going to point out. So the first thing he has is a Rekka. And to do it, it's core circle forward punch, then forward punch, and forward punch again. And he basically just does a 3-hit Rekka, and it's just straight up for damage. You use it, when you poke in your crouching medium kick and you confirm into it. And obviously, this is a reference to Yang's Rekka, his Manta Slashes.
Yeah, the Rekka is pretty interesting because unlike Yang, he doesn't have to repeat the motion for every hit, but instead it's just for the first one, and then he can just do forward and punch.
Yeah.
And I also unsure if he can do it on width as well. That'd be interesting to see.
Yes. It's like that reminds me of the Yang in Street Fighter 3. You need to do the EX Rekkas. You have to input the motion so quickly and
Do them
cleanly.
very fast.
Oh man, that was a nightmare. So his Rekka also has another follow-up. If you do core circle forward punch and then forward kick and forward kick, he does a less damaging Rekka, but he gets a free drink during the combo.
Kind of like G, as we were saying before, where you can give up some of the Oki, for example, to get a level up.
Right. And this is going to be one of the main ways you get to level 1 with Jamie, because you don't have access to too much at level 0. So you're going to be seeing this Rekka being done a lot at round start.
Hmm.
So the next move is a lunge punch. It's core circle back punch. And this is obviously makes you think of Young, where he does his rush punch. It doesn't look like
Yeah.
the same move at all, though, but he does, leap forward and punch. The EX version looks quite fast for this move, too.
Yeah, I don't think any of the versions, like not even the EX versions, are plus on block, like a certain someone. But it does seem like the kind of move that you would use in neutral.
Hmm.
For example, if you trying to whiff punish something, either raw or as a cancel.
Yeah.
If you're doing a buffer in neutral, for example, because it has a good range, and as we'll see later, it does get empowered with the levels.
Right. And the last move that Jamie gets at level 0, last special move, is he gets his uppercut kicks. This is done with a DP motion and kick. And it's not quite like Yang's or Young's. It's kind of like he does like a backflip kind of, and then he kicks upwards. It's kind of like a dance move in between. And this is also his invincible reversal if he does the EX version. The windup of the EX one looks really baitable. Like we've seen people literally neutral jump it and bait it. So it doesn't look like as good as your traditional like Dragon Punch EX reversal, but it's still an anti-air nonetheless. I noticed Jamie also has a lot of juggle combos, and a lot of the reliable enders seem to be ending it with the EX DP kicks or just DP
Hmm.
kicks for juggles.
Yeah.
So, all right, special moves that require levels now. Let's start with level 1 Jamie. he gets a dive kick. So in the air, you have to input core circle back kick, and of course the twins dive kick. The thing
Mhm.
is though, is that you can only do the dive kick while jumping forward. You can't do it even while neutral jumping.
Yeah, that's good. I don't wanna see that anymore.
You don't like Rufus, bro?
Oh, man. In this case, this dive kick reminds me a little bit more of Rashid's from
Hmm.
Street Fighter V in the sense that it's not a dive kick that can necessarily make very safe, and it pauses in the air for quite a bit, so it's maybe better for baiting anti-airs,
Yeah.
but it does have some more risk associated with it.
Hmm. I wonder if he used bait throws too. Another thing as well, Mir, is that this dive kick is not like the twins dive kick where it's a command normal. So since it's a special move, you can get an OD version of it. And we saw from the recent footage too at the Japan Expo in Paris of using a drive input impact to anti-air this because, like you said, it does have a slow startup. So you can't just use this like a maniac, basically.
Mhm. Yeah, and it probably has extra landing recovery as well, being a special.
Hmm. Now at level 2, Jamie gets another move with core circle forward kick, and he basically gets down his back and does this big breakdance kick. We've seen in the first gameplay trailer. And in the description, it notes that it's a big damaging ender, so I think when you land a clean hit with Jamie, you'll start ending with this instead once you get level 2 or higher.
Yeah, I'm curious if it gives any reliable Oki because obviously, if it is the damage ender, but it doesn't give you Oki, it might still be worth going for the Rekka, for example, if that's a better situation afterwards. So
Hmm.
we'll have to see how that works.
It also does a lot of hits, man. Like a lot, which is probably not good because of parry. So if you screw up and just randomly do this, especially EX version, you're gonna get your opponent like full drive cage.
Oh
So you gotta
yeah,
be
and I mean
careful.
it definitely doesn't look safe.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Now the next move that Jamie gets is really interesting because we basically see nobody using this move except for the highest level CPUs. All right, seriously. And by the way, the breakdance move has no relation to Young Yang. That's like a Jamie exclusive, by the way.
Yeah, it's his dancing background.
Yeah. Okay, so Jamie actually gets a command grab at level 3. So this is really dangerous considering how like the different trajectories that Jamie can come at you. So it's done with half circle back kick, and of course this is related to once again Yun and Yang, except that
Mhm.
he doesn't grab you by the shoulders and jump to the other side. He pokes you in the eye, man. That's cheap.
I mean, it's called even the same way. It's still called tension.
Oh.
So it's very intentional that it is the same move.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, it is a command throw. What it does instead of doing damage like your traditional command throw, it leaves you at a plus situation where you can combo after. So
Right.
basically, Jamie gets to choose what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if the X command throw is gonna have a million miles of range, just like
No,
Yanti
they're not
used to
gonna
have.
do that. They wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare. But I mean, when you mix this up with parry and you mix this up with drive rush, man, I'm telling you, this command grab is being slept on. I wish we'd see it more because this move is probably really strong. Like we have no command grabs right now, like
Yeah.
footage wise, right? We just have Jamie.
Well, I guess another thing that is worth mentioning about this is that since, like I said, you get a free hit, pretty much, it basically guarantees Jamie to get a level 4 out of this because he probably can just go into the Rekka and
Yeah.
the follow up into the drink. So this is especially dangerous if you get hit by this.
That's a good point too. So remember, guys, if you're studying the Jamie matchup, don't forget once he hits level 3, that command grab is coming, guys.
Oh yes, I can see it. Everyone's just gonna go for it. Just hold up.
Oh, absolutely. So at the final level, when Jamie's fully upgraded to level 4, he doesn't actually get new special moves. Instead, he gets extra extensions of his special moves. So there's two of them. The first one is his Rekka gets a big multi-hitting follow-up, the core circle forward punch Rekka at level 4. It does a lot of hits and a ton of corner carry. Have you seen it before, Mir? The footage of
Yeah,
it?
yeah, I have it. It does extra damage as well.
Yeah, it looks really good. And the other follow up is his lunge punch, the core circle back punch. That also gets a follow up with you get an additional forward punch afterwards. I don't know if it's just for more corner carrying damage or if that forward punch on block makes the lunge punch safe. I'm curious.
Yeah, that's interesting. It definitely, like you said, the damage in the corner carry is multiplied because he basically takes another step forward as he does it. So it's almost doubled
Hmm.
as far as a corner carry is concerned. The damage is maybe about 50% extra. So it can
Yeah.
still be, pretty chunky, especially if you get hit by this in neutral.
Hmm. I don't know how often we're gonna see Jamie at level 4, but I really like that design wise at level 4. It's not just something like, oh, he's gonna do 10% more damage. You know, that's kind of a boring way to show Jamie his final form. I like the idea that his moves that he already has gets upgraded somehow and you have to manually do the input to upgrade them. I don't know, I think visually it's easier to understand that he's more powerful than simply just doing more damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, and on top of that, as we mentioned, he also does get a unique target combo level 4, so it's even more tools again.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's talk about his command normals and then target combos here. Let's start with command normals. So Jamie actually has access to all of his command normals. He's got 4 of them at level 0, but they do get amplified later, which we'll mention. So the first command normal that he has is a big key one. It's down plus 2 kicks at the same time, and this is basically Jamie's launcher kick. And
Hmm.
once again, this is kind of like Yang Yang's close medium kick, but it's a command.
Yeah, yeah, and it can be jump cancel just like those moves as well.
Right. It seems to be a huge part of his bread and butter combos.
It's pretty peculiar that it's down in 2 kicks, like generic 2 kicks.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that's a pretty strange input for a unique move. Usually they don't go for that.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The next command normal is Jamie's overhead. This is done with forward medium kick. Once again, the twins. Same thing.
Yeah, it seems to cover quite a bit of ground as well, and we see in some of the footage that it is done after a drive rush
Yeah.
and can be comboed after. So that's
Really
that
dangerous.
can be pretty dangerous.
Hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be a big part
Uh,
of his mix up.
yeah, on top of the momentum that you get from the drive rush itself, so you can get overheaded from pretty far away, and it
Hmm.
seems like a relatively fast overhead. In general, overheads in this game seem quite fast.
Hmm. Yeah. So you gotta worry about like the low, the overhead, and a command grab, yippee, and a dive
Yeah.
kick. The last two command normals will seem kind of plain at first, but these are the ones that get amplified by Jamie's levels. The first one is back heavy punch. Jamie just does this whack punch. And it also mentions in the move list that it's super move cancelable, which seem kind of obvious, but I think that's more so to tell us about when it gets amplified, how actually unique it is.
Well, it could just be that this move specifically is not special cancelable, but instead it is uniquely only super cancelable, and maybe it does extra damage or extra hits done. So you could use it, for example, say maybe neutral as a counter poke, or at the end of song combos because it is the optimal way of dealing damage if you're going into a super, for example. As we know, you cannot cancel specials into supers unless you spend a level 3, right? So, for example, for a level 1, this could be a good ender.
The next command normal is his forward heavy kick, and Jamie basically does a step kick. He steps forward and kicks you. It doesn't hit you low, and it has the same description where he can super cancel from it.
Yeah, probably the same deal, maybe for with punishment in neutral, especially because it is a lunging kick.
Okay, let's talk about his target combos, and there are a lot of them. So at level 0, you only get one target combo. Every other target combo you gain per level. So at level 0, he only has down heavy kick into punch. So yes, it's a target combo that starts off from a sweep, and on top of that, it's another way that he gets to drink mid combo.
Yeah, again, because it starts from a sweep, it probably has okay range. You know, the first few levels, they want you to play a more neutral game, I
Hmm.
guess, until you get all your tools, and then you can start going crazy and on rushdown.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to have it on a longer range button like the sweep. And obviously it hits low, so that can be useful as well.
Hmm. Then the first target combo he gets at level 1, he gets the classic 1, 2, 3 Yun's target combo, light punch, light kick, medium punch. And I think this will be like his key target combo he gets after he gets that first drink off when the round begins.
Yeah, and another thing about this target combo is that obviously is special cancelable, just like the twins, and so it's gonna be pretty important for his BNBs that can only lead into lights, as it naturally starts from a light. So this
Yeah.
will help him fill those gaps and get some extra damage.
Hmm. Let's just hope Jamie doesn't have a special move that's like super safe on block, so it's not like the twins where you're always going to the shoulder and bullying with that.
Yeah, maybe they'll make it not cancelable on block just to prevent that from
Yeah,
happening.
maybe. Next up at level 2, Jamie gets an extension to his overhead kick. It's forward medium kick, and then you press medium kick again, and then punch. So obviously this is really dangerous because it starts from an overhead, but on top of that, once again, Jamie also is able to drink during this target combo.
Yeah, the interesting part about this is that then the overhead knocks down because that's the situation that it creates.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if you can just interrupt the target combo at the second medium kick and maybe take the Oki. because
Ooh.
obviously the drink is an extra.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe
Mm.
that could just basically give you a knockdown overhead that you can
Right,
use.
right. I hope not. Okay, so for the last two levels, these enhance those command normals that I said looked kind of plain. So at level 3, Jamie's back heavy punch now becomes back heavy punch into heavy kick. And this one's kind of hard to tell what it's for because it seems like it's just for damage. He doesn't really move forward that much. Jamie kind of hits you with his back fist and then he dabs on you, it looks like, and then he jumps in the air and hits you with both kicks. So unless you're able to like super cancel in between, on this. And by the way, Mir, I think his back heavy punch is probably his crush counter for his punish counter. Now that I think about it, just because
Th
of the
that
range.
that could be. I think the idea of this target combo is that the back heavy punches we were describing earlier, it's only super cancelable.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have meter, you don't have anything to do with this normal, but it seems to have an interesting property of being a little bit of a backswing. Like we see Jamie take a small backstep when he does it, so it could have some evasive properties.
Mm-hmm.
And so this gives extra damage on a normal that normally would just end with either nothing or a super,
Yeah.
especially if you don't land a counter hit or a punish counter.
Yeah.
So even if you cannot super cancel it, it still gives you a use, and maybe it could be a good combo ender if you can combo into it. I know it's a heavy, but
Right.
maybe
Right.
in some situations, like after a punish counter that gives a crumple, this could be the optimal ender.
I think that'd be cool if the backswing was, or like the dab is some type of sway into hitting the opponent because, it's see more of his drunken boxer style. We see a lot of the dancing part of him in a lot of his moves, but I want to see more of
Yeah,
like that drunken boxer style as well. And the final target combo that Jamie gets at max level at level 4, it enhances his step kick. So it goes forward heavy kick into back heavy kick into punch. Now this is really tricky because I think in the move list description it doesn't actually show this entire move because the way it describes it, it says the effects change depending on when you press the button for the last attack, which is the punch. And the description also says bewilder your opponent while falling back. And so this target combo is really unique because it alters on when you press that last button as Jamie's falling back, and we don't actually get to see that.
yeah. I think I've seen it in some footage. The way it works is that if you do it immediately, the forward heavy kick into back heavy kick and then punch, he does like a shoulder tackle, almost like a headbutt. It
Yeah, it looks like
seems.
a headbutt.
And then if you don't do it immediately, instead, he starts spinning and building distance between you and your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a backsway in the middle of the target combo itself. And then based on when you press the punch, you're gonna do like a follow up to this backsway to punish a retaliation of some kind, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
Or if you don't do anything, then you just safely build like a backdash almost. You safely build distance from your opponent,
Mm-hmm.
so it's gonna be something that you can probably fish for hits on on block.
Yeah.
Like you can just do it and then backsway away.
Yeah, obviously they want you to do this on block, and obviously it has to be very powerful because it's level 4. And this seems to
Hmm.
be the most drunken boxer move that Jamie has from its
Yeah,
description to really throw your opponent off. So I love it, and I want to know more about this move in general.
yeah. This seems really interesting. Like you said, it really fits his theme pretty well. And in general, we don't really see target combos built that way in Street Fighter. Especially because this includes movement on top of the difference in
Yeah.
timing. So it's basically new, something new that Street Fighter 6 has to offer for us.
All right, let's talk about Jamie's supers now, starting with his level 1. It's basically a better version of his breakdancing kicks that he gets, and it hits you a lot more times and knocks you away, basically.
Yeah, just like many level ones, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but does score a knockdown. And it seems like if you hold down the down direction after you're done with the super, you'll also get a level up because
Oh,
Jimmy
really?
will
I didn't
drink.
know that.
Yeah, this seems like an interesting addition because then you can decide whether or not you want a level up or maybe just like go to get some Oki, for example, for pressure.
Yeah, it also justifies his level 2 because his level 2 seems really strong compared to other characters in the game so far.
Mm.
So his level 2 just straight up puts Jamie into level 4 drink mode, which is nuts. And then the super meter changes into a timer that slowly ticks down. And like I said, you're temporarily at max level, and when that runs out, he loses and goes back to whatever he was at before.
I guess another thing that's worth mentioning is that during the entire period of this install, as the super bar is ticking down, you cannot gain any meter. So we'll go back to the meter that he had before. And this is
Oh,
true for
interesting.
probably for the other installs as well. But
Mm-hmm.
in this case in particular, basically you're gimping your capacity of building meter
Mm-hmm.
and to get the level 4 drink.
Right. So this means if you want to, like, you can just skip the whole process of deciding when to drink and just straight up use the level 2. Another thing is that there are actually combos where you can combo into this and continue to link combos after the drink, so you can do the install in between, which is really flashy. Another
Yeah.
thing to
Yeah.
point out is that Jamie doesn't actually have his hair go all wavy when he naturally gets to level 4. He just kind of looks the same, but he's like red. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't have access to all of his moves, because he does. But I just noticed it's just like a little subtle difference between naturally getting to level 4 drink mode. I personally think Jamie players are going to use this super the most. It just seems really powerful because it gives you access to his entire move set, which is really strong and for good reason. And finally, his level 3. His level 3 is really cool. It basically goes into this kind of old school kung fu movie like letterbox kind of scenario where he's
Mhm.
facing off the opponent. They look like they're on even ground, and he just mauls them in nooch. And it ends with like his DP kicks. If you don't get the CA version, but when you get the CA, in case you guys don't know, when you have 25% health or less, your level 3 supers get a new animation. They do more damage. And Jamie's it has him like basically do this fatality on the opponent where he grabs their throat and like
Yeah,
crushes their
pretty
throat. It's
much.
really violent.
Like a neck breaker sort of
Yeah,
situation because you can hear the bones
yeah,
cracking
it's
and all of
creepy.
that.
It's like a
Literally out of Mortal Kombat. I mean,
pressure
there's no other
point
way of
thing. I don't
describing
know,
it.
man. I mean, they're going
And
out of
then
their
all
way,
the
Mir, to say he's not drinking alcohol, but then you get a super like this, man. It's like the most violent looking
yeah.
super in Street Fighter.
Yeah, and then if it kills, you get all the moon runes on screen. It's like I don't even know
Yeah,
what they say.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think it's a cool looking super. I just feel like I don't know, that level 2 super is really hard to pass up just to see that level
Mhm.
3.
Yeah, sometimes the level 3 will be the only way you get, a safe confirm into a super, and so maybe stocking some meter will still be pretty valuable just for this.
Yeah. So usually at the end part of this video, we talk about what we think about the character's theme, but for some weird reason, Capcom hasn't posted Jamie's theme, and they posted everybody else's theme. And they used to do it
Yeah, I
like
don't know.
every single day. It's weird. So
Maybe it was just such a Hadouken banger that they're saving it for another occasion.
yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming we'll hear it soon. But yeah, so we can't really talk about that. I mean, you can kind of hear it on some of the footage, but obviously we don't hear the official OST on it. I guess I'll
Yeah,
just
definitely.
add to Jamie's move list overall that it's a really interesting move list. He doesn't seem to get any extra like normal grabs like in the air, but mastering all of Jamie's moves and me learning all of them as we're doing this video mirror has me a lot more interested in the character than I did before. My eye was more on, some future characters to be announced, but and I don't really play the twins. I like Yang more because he has Rekkas, but Jamie just seems to have such a huge move list in general that there's something for everyone, even if you're a grappler.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a nice way of trying to get back some of the things that the twins did into the game, without bringing back all the degenerate stuff that the twins did back
Yeah.
into the game. So we'll
Hmm.
see. I mean, this is a very early opinion, obviously.
Yeah,
For
of
all I
course.
know, Jamie is just gonna do level 2 into command throws and kill you. So everything is possible. But I do like the callback to existing characters, and at the same time I think he has a lot of personality in general. His moves are pretty quirky. I like the fusion of traditional martial arts and breakdancing. I think I don't know, like the character in general has a lot of personality. I think the design is pretty striking.
Yeah.
The good colors on his outfit. I don't know. I just like him. But I do agree. I also wasn't too invested into the character. The first thing that I said when I looked at him, I was like, "Oh, this character seems cool, but it's too complicated for me. I have small monkey brain. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I need to throw fireballs in zone. That's
Hmm.
my game."
Yeah. I think now that you may have a better understanding of the character from us just researching from the footage, I think it's more interesting. And I think that's really important too, Mir, because Jamie's a brand new character. It's
Mhm.
really hard to make a brand new character and have them be popular. it seems during the Street Fighter saga. I know it's usually in future Street Fighter games where the new characters become more popular. But I
Mm.
think generally from reading comments that people are really excited for Jamie. A lot of people seem to like the character, so that's really good. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you guys super excited for Jamie, especially as a new character? And if you guys are previous like Yun and Yang users as well, I want to know if that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, especially because I know that there's a fair few people that are concerned that Street Fighter 6 might be, like too much of an easy game or whatever. Play this character, and I'm sure your opinion will change. He's got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. Me and Mir will be back for another character discussion for Street Fighter 6. Until then guys, take care.
Bye bye.